These mods mostly worked how I expected, but I made one big mistake, so stick around until the end or see if you can spot it during the course of this video. This is my modded Epiphone SG Special 1 limited edition that I bought for $150. I'll link to the full review and sound demo in the description and the pinned comment here. So I bought this for $150. It's often on sale for $150, only available from Guitar Center or Musician's Friend. So I think it's a decent guitar for $150, but I wanted to have some fun, do some mods, and kind of test out a few different things. So I figured what better guitar to do it on than one I already like. I do have one more mod planned, so of course subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Do need to note this video is not sponsored by any of the companies that I feature here. All of these products I purchased with my own money, but shout out to Antonio, John Dotson, and Hippie Gypsy Creations for buying me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee, which definitely helps for funding videos like this. Thanks, y'all. If you want to get a shout out in a future video, buy me a coffee and I will be happy to do that. No obligation, of course, but it is much appreciated. So let's start at the headstock and work our way down. I replaced the chrome tuners with these black locking tuners. Now these SGs have 8mm tuning peg holes, and a lot of replacement tuners, including these locking tuners, need a 10mm hole, which means you need to do some drilling. Usually what I would do is use a 10mm drill bit, but I have misplaced mine, so wanted to try something else. I bought a hand reamer, and of course I'll link all the products used in the description and the pinned comment. So this hand reamer was like $20, very easy to use, did a very clean job to widen the tuner holes. On the back of the headstock, I filled in the tuner holes with toothpicks, the old tuner holes, with toothpicks and Sharpied over them, so you don't see them from far away anyway. It's not a perfect job, but it's fine for, you know, a job like this. And then for the new tuners, I drilled little pilot holes before screwing them in. I don't know that that's completely necessary. It's just how I've always done it, just to make sure you don't split any wood in your headstock. So yeah, easy enough to do. Now, unfortunately, two of these tuners were actually somewhat broken. The screw was glued in, so I had to twist it out, and in twisting it out, it kind of broke off because it's just glued into the metal screw. And then I had to kind of unscrew the metal screw out of the tuner with pliers because they were glued in. So real bit of a pain. And then I had to obviously put them back together, super glue them back together before I could use them. So that's really annoying. I personally, if I didn't want to just get the job done, I would have asked for an exchange. But you know, whatever, is what it is. It was easy enough for me to fix, so I just fixed it. Never seen anything like that before, and other people I know who have used these tuners haven't had any issues. So, you know, quality control for cheap products, it's not always great. What can you do? I replaced the plastic nut with a black GraphTech TUSQ XL nut. Not completely necessary. There's really nothing wrong with that plastic nut. It was cut fine, had no issues with it. I did want to try something with installing this nut, which I hadn't done before. Instead of kind of doing the standard method, which I don't know if there's necessarily a standard method for installing a nut, but what I call the standard method is kind of basically what GraphTech has on their website on how to install a nut, because these are pre-slotted, you know, pre-cut, but they're not a perfect drop-in. You do need to sand the sides and the bottom to get them right. And so what I did was measured the old nut with calipers and then sanded down the new nut to those measurements. I just wanted to see if it would work, and it worked fine. So, you know, that's cool. But I think generally I would just go with the standard method that they show on their website, and lots of other people will show you how to do. But I just wanted to try something new. The beauty of doing mods, especially cheap mods on cheap guitars, is it gives you an opportunity to learn some things and just try some things. And so that's one of the things I wanted to try. Oh, and of course, to ultimately install the nut, you want to put a dab of superglue, just a dab, and put it in, hold it down for 20 seconds. You don't want to use a lot of superglue because you might want to do a replacement again in the future or whatever. So too much superglue will make that difficult. You really only need the superglue to just keep it in place. The strings, the tension from the strings will do most of the job anyway. Lawn care is making noise outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm just going to continue filming because I don't have time. So I don't know if you might have noticed already, probably not because it still looks kind of glossy, but I sanded some of the gloss off this neck. I'd always kind of wanted to try it. I don't have a problem with glossy necks. I like satiny necks, of course, but don't have any issues with gloss necks. Have a bunch of guitars with glossy necks. But always wanted to try kind of sanding down a neck, see what that process would be like, see what it would feel like, see how it would work. There's basically two methods you can go with: a very destructive method and a less destructive method. So I started with the less destructive method. Took 320 grit sandpaper, sanded it down. First, I taped up the edge of the fretboard, and basically I taped it all up so I would only sand the spots I wanted to sand. I had the neck completely off, taped it down here as well. So I only wanted to sand from the first fret to basically about the 15th fret here. So 320 grit sandpaper, then 400 grit sandpaper, and then I did kind of a final polishing with 1500 grit polishing pad, what I use for on frets actually. And I will say it turned out not bad. It is more satiny. It's still glossy, as you can see. It's still shiny. It's not as shiny as the headstock. So it is smoother. It is more satiny feeling. So pretty cool. But I think I might still go with the more destructive method and go all the way down to the wood and then refinish the wood or seal the wood with some tung oil or something like that. Still undecided on that. But yeah, it's one of those things. I always kind of wanted to try that mod, but I'm not going to do it on an expensive guitar. So what better than a guitar like this? Moving on, I installed Straplocks, and more specifically on the top horn. And as you can see here, this guitar still has the strap button behind the heel. So SGs generally have the strap button behind the heel. The Tony Iommi SG, the signature Tony Iommi SG, does have the strap button on the horn. And what that does, it helps with neck dive. Now, neck dive on SGs never has bothered me. I know it technically is an issue, but not an issue that ever bothered me. But I figure, hey, let's do the Tony Iommi mod while I'm modding this guitar. So yeah, simple little thing. Had to drill a hole and screw in the new strap buttons. And of course, remove the strap button from here and screw in the new one. As you can tell, I replaced the black pickguard, which you can see up here, with this white perloid one. $10 shipped from AliExpress, and it was basically a drop-in replacement. I did need to shave a little bit here and a little bit right at the neck to get it to fit well, or to get it to drop in. but the holes all lined up, and so it's a pretty easy replacement. I do like how it looks. I think it looks really sweet, but a totally unnecessary mod. Just something fun, I guess. Last but not least, I replaced the wraparound bridge, the chrome wraparound bridge, with this Intonatable black wraparound bridge from Wilkinson. I actually bought two different Intonatable wraparound bridges. The other one I had bought was from Sap Hue. It's the badass style bridge, but that one wouldn't fit. It's a little wider or thicker, and it was butting up against the pickup ring, so it wouldn't fit on the guitar. That bridge is likely fine for a lot of guitars, but not this one. So this one fit fine and easy to install. I did do a video on how to remove the posts because I wanted to obviously use the black posts that come with this bridge instead of the chrome posts. That's easy to do. I'll link to that video below as well, in case you want to know how to remove these posts. But they're drop-in. They're, I think, M8 size. Do you want to say this Wilkinson bridge does work fine, but I don't love it, which brings me to two issues I have with this guitar. First, it does have some tuning stability issues now, but they're uniform, which is a little odd. So what that means is it basically all the strings go flat similarly over time, which makes me think it's the bridge, because the tuners or anything else kind of going flat over time similarly would be really odd. So like if the strings were getting bound up in the nut, yeah, of course that can happen, but not all of them together at the same time. If the tuners were like loose, yeah, that can happen, but is it gonna be uniform across the strings? No. So it makes me think it's the bridge. This isn't something I've seen in a guitar like this before, so if you have any ideas on what it could be, or if you know of a fix, be happy to hear it. Also, as far as the bridge, as you can see with the low E, it's pushed all the way back. The saddle is all the way back. And so it is intonated like this, but it is a little odd because in my experience with intonating guitars, yeah, the low E is supposed to be a little bit back, but I've never seen it so far back. I don't know what the issue is there, or if it's any real issue at all. Just a little perplexing to me. If you have any ideas about what it could be, happy to hear those as well. Now let's get to where I made a mistake. I don't know if you picked it up in the video so far, but when I was installing the strap buttons, I accidentally installed in the lower bout. So now I've got a hole in the lower bout. I guess if I want to play lefty, I can install a strap lefty. In any case, whatever, what can you do? Sometimes when you're doing stuff like this, you're just not paying attention. This was one of those times. So in any case, that's the SG. It still sounds the same, so I'm not doing a sound demo in this video, but I do plan on swapping out this bridge pickup, and I'll do a comparison of this pickup with the new pickup. Now, I will say I like how this guitar sounds, and I like this pickup. It's not a necessary mod, but just another fun thing. You want to hear that, you want to see that, subscribe. If you have any thoughts, any comments, questions, concerns, complaints, leave them all below. Be happy to hear them. See you next time.